We near the end of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We want to highlight a special short film premiering this Wednesday as part of the 15th season of the Ariel Rivka Dance Company. Take a look.
He came to this country with nothing but his hopes and dreams.
The film is about a Chinese immigrant who came to this country in the 1940s, told through music and dance. And joining me now is the director and producer of the film, Donna Wang Friedman. And also here is the film's choreographer and dance company founder, Ariel Grossman. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, Donna, this film is based on your father. Tell me about him and his story.
My father was born in Ningbo, China. That's where he was raised, into a very, very poor family. He was the oldest of 13 kids. Only 5 survived childhood. In fact, when he was born, he had the umbilical cord tied around his neck, so he was a blue baby. And they thought he was dead. And he was born at home, no midwives. They threw him in the garbage.
Oh, my gosh.
And in the middle of the night, they heard cries. So they got him, and he showed everyone from day one that he was a fighter. But then in the 1940s, when he was just about 20, during the Japanese occupation, they shut down all the Chinese schools, and they opened up Japanese schools to teach the Chinese kids Japanese culture, history, and language, and my dad did not think that was right. So he set up an underground Chinese school. And all the families brought their kids to his school. And it went really well for a while until the soldiers found out, and they destroyed the school, and they put him in jail. They imprisoned him. A couple of weeks later, as luck would have it, one of the Japanese guards was married to a Chinese woman, and their son was my dad's student. So he came in the middle of the night and set him free, but told him he had to leave the country and never come back. And that's when he left his homeland and came to this country. He had no money, no friends, no family. He didn't speak the language very much, so he got himself a manual job, you know, kind of long hours, little pay, and he ate 1 meal a day, peanut butter and rice.
Wow.
And soon he got very, very depressed. But after saving his pennies for several months, he bought himself a very special gift, a radio. And that changed his life. So his story not only shines a light on the power of the immigrant experience, but also on the healing power of music.
That is so true. And you were inspired to tell this story after something horrible happened to you.
Yeah, it was early on in the pandemic, in March 2020, and I was walking my dog in Central Park, 1 p.m., when from out of nowhere, this large, burly man comes lunging towards me, and he starts screaming every anti-Asian slur I'd ever heard. And he started screaming at me to go back to where I came from or get what I deserve. And he was so close to me. I thought he was going to hurt me, push me or something. But it was in the middle of the day, and people walked by, and he took off into the park. And I ran with my doggie back home, and I didn't leave my apartment for 7 months after that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to be looked at as the cause for COVID. Because that's what he was blaming me for. And, you know, with the rise of, you know, crime against Asian Americans, it was a very tough time. But I stayed home, I listened to a lot of music by Asian Americans, and I did a lot of thinking, and I realized that I wanted to do something in my own small way to stand up for myself and for my community. And that's when I created Heritage in Harmony, my first program in collaboration with WQXR, to share the stories and the music of classical musicians of Asian descent. And then the following year, to honor what would have been my father's 100th birthday, I started sharing his story.
And in the film, it is amazing what you've done. Let's talk about the choreography, Ariel.
So it's interesting to hear Donna's story because I've heard it for almost 3 years now, and every time she tells it, there's something new. And it's so touching and so personal, and I felt a lot of pressure to be able to portray it visually. And you don't say no to Donna. There were a few moments in the music she had ideas about, and I said, okay, should I have her come into the studio with me? And I said, I think no. But I sent her videos along the way. Is this the kind of emotion that you're going for? Is this what you're trying to say? And I really focused on the relationship between her parents and visualizing Donna at the piano as a young child, as a grown-up, and having her parents struggle from the beginning to then the path that they took to be able to create this amazing human and artist. And I just used that as inspiration to create.
Now, the film is premiering as part of your dance company's 15th spring season. Tell us about the company and what's happening, I believe, Wednesday?
Yes, so Ariel Rivka Dance is an all-female dance company. We empower female creatives as often as possible, from the costume designer to the lighting designer to the collaborators musically in our compositions. There are going to be 3 world premieres, which is a first time for us. The first is called Microvids, which Donna will be playing live on the piano. And she's been to a couple rehearsals, and she just told me she doesn't practice.
Wow.
Which I love. But I've said to the dancers, we'll see what happens. And then the film will premiere right after that. And the final piece is called What You Want, which is really about a reemergence of mine personally after COVID and divorce and discovering myself.
Thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Once again, Never Fade Away premieres as part of the Ariel Rivka Dance season at the Jack Crystal Theater at NYU Tisch School of the Arts. And performances are Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night at 7 p.m. We'll be right back.